Hey there, welcome again to My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Let's update on the orchid collection. Happy March. Days are getting longer. Time changes next weekend. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to try to go to bed 10 minutes earlier each night this week to hopefully adjust and not be shocked next Sunday or next Monday. So let's go ahead and look and see what's going on. We've got Bulbophyllum echinolabium pushing out its newest leaf. It's not as large as the last leaf, but it's larger than that leaf, so it's okay, I guess. Next to it we have Calia Rex Killa, and my last video I said it looks like Killa is doing okay. Well, a few days after that, one of the newest pseudobulbs just straight up started to rot. The halfway up the pseudobulb was just solid black. The leaf turned yellow and black splotches. So I cut it off. I sprayed it with Physan. I sprinkled cinnamon, and I'm just gonna watch it. I kind of think that the new growth will start to rot too, and maybe this one as well. But I'm just gonna see. I did the same thing to Mayu last year, and it's been okay for a year. So we'll see. This is the season of rot for at least my Calia Rex collection. This is when I really have to watch things. Something about the temperatures getting warmer, maybe the sunlight, maybe there's more moisture, I'm not quite sure. I've been really excited to see my Pinguicula. It looks like it's kind of opening up, and it's got a little bud on it as well, so that's exciting. I ordered some Pinguicula potting mix from California Carnivores on February 12th, and it is March the 5th, and it's still not here. I messaged them, and they said, yes, we've been moving, and we've had some issues, and we've had some storms. And I'm thinking, well, if you knew you were moving, you probably should have put something on your website like, hey, we're going to be moving, so things might be delayed. You know, the delay of a month seems like a lot to me. Anyway, hoping to get that in the mail so I can repot this guy in a more appropriate mix for summer growth. Next to it we've got Mormodia Jumbo World. You can see its newest growth is getting tall. It's kind of running into these other two bulbs, and then it's got some growth back here as well I'm excited about. And then of course the pod continuing to grow and swell. And it's just got lots of seedlings here. This is a Daliana Rosita with a new leaf on it. It's mounted. This is a little Rex from my own breeding that's mounted and seems to be grabbing onto that cork pretty nicely. And then just some other seedlings. Nice new growth popping up here. Trying to keep an eye on them. Let them dry out a little bit between watering. Bulbophyllum medusae has got 5 new growths. Is it 5? Yeah, 5 new growths now. So that's good. Unfortunately, 4 of them are all on this side. And then there's this 5th one that's kind of started out early there. But it's really responding well to this net pot inside a solid plastic pot. The roots are really going crazy in there, so that's good. Cali Rex Inti, the new leaf is growing nice and straight. It's good to see. And then the seed pods still got a couple months before they split open. We can grab the seed out of there and send it to the lab. Hopefully get some really desirable seedlings out of that. It's one is Inti by Self and the other is Inti by Triumphans. So that's going to be cool. These are some more seedlings from my plants. This is Mayu by Orku. So that is good. We've got Calia Rex Wayra with 2 new growths. This one down here, and then of course this one you can see we're really getting close to Rex bloom season. This is going to get up to about here, and then we should start to see the sheath once we see the sheath, it's just about a month or so, about 4 weeks or so before we start to see the buds pushing out, and maybe even flowers. So it's coming up soon. I think we can expect April flowers, maybe mid to late April flowers for this plant. So that's really exciting, and maybe for Inti as well, but Inti's a little bit further behind. Actually, the Rex that's furthest along is Nina. Back here, you can see it's got a leaf that's really getting big, and once that leaf splits open, we should be able to see the sheath in there and get some flowers going on that one. Maybe beginning of April or so. And these two plants, between the two of them, have 5 growths this year that I can see. There might be more, but that's going to be great, really great. Got my Cattleya trianae AC Burrage with 2 growths on it. The leaves look very yellow to me, so I wonder if it's healthy. But anyway, we're gonna let it do its thing. We've got Calia Hardiana back here. It's finally finished the growth that it started a few months ago. Really nice. The leaf isn't as long as the previous growth, but it is definitely taller, and it's got a nice fat bulb on it, so that's good. So hopefully we're gonna see maybe another growth push out there. Right now it's rooting. That's always good to see. Those green root nubs sticking out. Then lots of various Cattleya seedlings doing their thing over here. This Pulcherima looks like it's putting on a new growth, starting to push down there. This Purpurata is finishing up its bulb. Maybe it'll put out a new one. And we got a few others. Bulbophyllum, lepidum. You can see these 3 brand new shiny beautiful leaves that it's put out. They're not as big as the ones that it put out last year, but it did get repotted this year, and they really hate to be repotted. So I do see lots of roots on there, and that is a good thing. And then maybe we'll see more growth on Bulbophyllum Lovely Elizabeth as well. It put out this beautiful new bulb and leaf last month, and then got a whole growing season ahead of us. Maybe we'll see 1 or 2 more. And then back here we've got Calia Maxima, and again, some kind of yellowing leaves here. It's hard to see with the light, but I wonder if it's just because I repotted the thing into a big pot with lots of air in it. Maybe it's just drying out a little bit too much. Don't know. But I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's got 5 growths for the fall growths that started in November. 5 of them. This one's finishing up. And I expect within the next couple of months it to put out a second flush of growths. So who knows how many we're going to get. Maybe 8 sheaths on this plant. And then if it does what it did last year, we should see blooms in September. So 8 blooming spikes on this thing. Possible. Might be really, really cool. I also learned earlier this week that this is an example of the lowland variety of Calia Maxima. Chadwick talks about in his book that there's 2 varieties. There's a highland variety from high altitudes, which has shorter, squatter bulbs and more vibrant color in the flowers, and can tolerate cooler temperatures. This is the lowland form. It has paler flowers. Of course, mine is a cerulean variety, and can't quite tolerate as cool of temperatures, which is fine because my grow tent never gets below 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like, what, 16, 17 degrees Celsius. Next to it we got Cali Rex Mayu. Mayu is another one that rotted last year, so I am watching it very carefully. The back bulbs here especially, I look every day right at the base to see if there's any discoloration, any darkening. If I see anything like that, it has to be cut off immediately or it will kill the whole plant within a matter of days. But 2 nice new growth as well. If this plant does not rot, and what I'm doing to try to keep it from rotting is I'm only watering the front half of the pot. So no water on that back part where I cut it off last year. So we will see. But if both of those growths make it to maturity, it looks like they might both bloom, which would be fantastic. Alright, and spring is in the air with the Catasetum tribe. We've got Cloesia, Rebecca Northern. This year it's going to be in a clay pot, but it's stuffed full of sphagnum, so I'm just an experiment to see how differently a clay pot full of sphagnum dries out versus a clay pot full of a plastic pot full of sphagnum dries out. So this is one of the new hybrids from SVO, yet unnamed, I think. Maybe he'll register them this year. This is Cycnoches and just starting out. Another brand new hybrid here. And then this is another Cloesia, Rebecca Northern. And then this one, the one I'm really excited about is Cycnoches cooperi. I repotted it into a pet method style, so it's got rocks on the bottom. Sorry, this plant's all in the way here. It's rocks in the bottom and then sphagnum in the top part, so I'm trying to pull everything out of the way. You can see the growth. Oh yes, very excited about that. A nice big fat one, you know that's going to be big, so I'm hoping for a big spray of flowers on it this year. Fingers crossed. So to talk a little bit about Pacific Orchid Expo, I went there last weekend. Was it last weekend? Gosh. We went at around noonish on Saturday. And so the display area had, of course, displays from all the vendors. There was one that stood out particularly for me. There was a big glass case. I mean, really huge glass case that had mastivalias of all kinds and Draculas, I think, as well in there. Just a wonderful display of all the different possibilities you can get from growing that very interesting genus. Really appreciated that. I also saw for the first time a Dendrophylax lindenii. This is the ghost orchid from southern Florida. In bloom, they just had it suspended in a little glass tube. And it was very kind of hidden. You couldn't, unless you were really scanning. I missed it the first time through, but I'm glad I saw it the second time. It was very, very cool to see that plant in person, in bloom for the first time. That's kind of a wish list / bucket list plant that I'd like to grow. And then, of course, there was this massive Paphiopedilum it was a multifloral type, absolutely huge, from Path Paradise, and I think it won Best in Show. And then nothing else after that really got my attention too much. It was actually, I would say, for the most part, a Cymbidium show. There were Cymbidiums everywhere. Just Cymbidium season, I guess, in San Francisco. And then in the vendors area, there, of course, there was Equigenera, which was interesting because all of their plants were not in pots. They were like in plastic sleeves, and they were just, it was almost like being in a record store or in a bookstore. You just have big crates full of these plants in plastic sleeves, and you just thumb through them and look at the tags and look at the pictures. And they had some interesting stuff. They had lots of Cattleya species in bud in these plastic sleeves. So I don't know if you had bought one of those if the flowers would actually continue to bloom out, because they looked like they'd been in those sleeves for a while. But it was an interesting way to get a massive amount of plants and quite a variety. They had several Calia trianaes and maximas as well, and I thought about it, but I didn't get anything. There was one place called Seed Engay, and they had lots of not Neophoenicia, Vanda falcata, so the Japanese wind orchid. Lots of varieties, and that was the first time I'd seen all the different varieties that you can get with those. The variegated ones, the little bean leaf, stubby leafed ones, the ones with triple spurs on their flowers. So just lots of different types, but they were expensive. We're talking like $120 to $300 for different varieties there. But interesting to see. There were also lots of Chinese cymbidiums, which I'm under the impression are not easy to grow, even if you do have the climatic conditions. There's something about the water and the temperature, and everything has to be right. And I've even read that some people, they cut the spikes every other year so the plants can grow. They just seem really complicated. But anyway, I did see some of them in really, really beautiful flowers and nice, delicate fragrance as well. Those Chinese cymbidiums. And of course, there was Sunset Valley Orchids was there. And like I said, I got there on Saturday, which was the second day of the event. And I think I saw 2 Catasetum types on their whole booth. It was all mini Cattleyas, all miniature Cattleyas. So I was kind of surprised I didn't see some more Catasetums, but someone commented on a post I made on Orchid Board about, all the Catasetums were gone the first day. They did bring several, but they were just all gone, so it was interesting. And then finally, of note was high desert orchids. I actually met Callie McCracken, so that was cool. She actually recognized me, so I felt like a celebrity. And then next to it, it was a booth called Tropical Exotic, or like spelled like French, like exotique. But it was adjoined to High Desert, so I was wondering if they have 2 businesses under the same owner, High Desert and Tropical Exotic. Anyway, they had some very interesting flasks. They had flasks of Phalaenopsis bellina. They had flasks of Bulbophyllum Phalaenopsis. And I think it was, if I remember correctly, like $120 for the flask. But I'm just thinking, there were, they looked like 30 or 40 plants inside that flask. They were long bottles. They were not little plastic bags. And I'm just thinking, gosh, somebody who buys this flask and grows these out would make a fortune on this stuff, because these plants are highly desirable, not often found, but you have to have the space to grow them out. And as once you start getting into the seedling game, space disappears pretty fast. So anyway, that's my brief summary of Pacific Orchid Expo. It was really cool. I didn't buy anything. I just was there to look, and there was really nothing. The only thing that really I had to pull myself away from was there was a booth outside, and I don't remember what their name was, but they had a Bulbophyllum rothschildianum, big, beautiful plant, lots of new growth, just very, very big. I mean, kind of like my medusae here, just a really nice big plant. And rothschildianum is just has gorgeous flowers, and it's a species, and it was only $45, and I was like, oh man, that is really, really nice. And I don't know when's the next time I'm going to see something that nice available. Species like that, especially the Bulbophyllum species, I feel like they're just, I don't see them too often, especially shows, that kind of stuff. So anyway, I managed to pull myself away, but it was a good show. It was very cool to be there. San Francisco's an awesome city. We had Bloody Marys after the show, and we ate some ramen, which was delicious. So that was our day in San Francisco. But anyway, if you win, I hope you had a good time. Hope your plants are doing well. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here on My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Things are going to be blooming soon, guys. Take care.